No matter who you voted for, no matter who you are or where you live, I will be a mayor for you.
We're KBLA Talk 1580. Talk 1580. Talk 1580. And we don't black down. Black down. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA 1580. That's right. Free Brittney Griner. She is on her way back to the United States right now. The swap has already happened. She's on the plane. The United States has released Russian arms dealer Viktor Bout. They were not able to get Paul Whelan out. He's been there for 4 years in a Russian prison. But as this war continues to drag on, this is a huge victory. And it's something that, was never promised, right? I mean, the Biden administration says that the negotiations have been intense. They've been ongoing, that the president has been involved on an ongoing basis. And, obviously he's not there every day negotiating, but that he's been tapped in with this shows how important it is to the Biden administration. The president making that announcement from the White House, where he was accompanied by Brittney Griner's wife, Sherelle, and officials, including the vice president. It's a second deal like this in 8 months with Russia. But this is something that African Americans have been lobbying for, the black press, black women's organizations, and really notably athletes. I feel like the WNBA and many professional athletes in other sports, right? Not just the NBA. We've seen Steph Curry and LeBron James making statements, but even football players and others in sports. And of course, the divide in pay and salary, the gap, I guess you could say, the wage gap between the NBA and the WNBA is part of what led to this situation, because that's why so many WNBA players have a side hustle, playing overseas, off season. And, we know that this is part of the reason. Had Brittney Griner had a salary that allowed her to stay home and rest in the off season like our NBA players do, then this never would have happened. That said, many players continue to go to Russia and work there and other countries overseas, and I believe they will continue to. I don't know that I would do so were I a WNBA player, especially now with the war in Ukraine. Because we don't know exactly what happened. We don't know if that was a setup. We don't even know if she had those vapes. We don't know. We know that Brittney Griner is a superstar. She was an Olympian. We know that Russia knows who she is. She's not woman that was obscure in Russia. She was a basketball star there. She was a highly valued and well-respected star in Russia. And they just sure did throw her in a cage like an animal in a heartbeat. Sure did take her out to a Russian work camp that is known for its homophobia, misogyny, and racism. And now she's on her way back. Hey, if I'm President Biden, I'm having a good week right about now. I got 51 Democratic senators with the victory of Raphael Warnock, and I've got Brittney Griner on a plane coming home. Oh, there's other great things that have happened this week, and I've talked about some of them yesterday. Did I mention Herschel Walker is not a senator? That's a great thing that happened this week. And, of course, the Trump Organization guilty on all counts. I mean, it's been a busy week, and it's only Thursday. I think it's terrible that we were not able to get Paul Whelan home, and hopefully he will be home. I love that Sherelle and Brittney Griner have said that they're committed to continuing to work on this. And it was very gracious of Whelan's family to express joy that Brittney Griner was being released, even while sharing their disappointment that their own his own brother wasn't coming home. The Biden administration say they tried really hard to get Whelan out too, and the Soviet Union. The Russians, no, they want to keep them completely separate. Probably they are trying to get as much out of each deal as possible. This guy, Victor Bout, who, we've heard a lot about him. Everyone was saying he's this big killer who was serving 25 years in the U.S. for conspiring to sell tens of millions of dollars in weapons that were meant to be used to kill Americans. So many, and particularly conservatives, but others say, well, it's too high a price to pay for Brittney Griner. But that just can't be so. I mean, it's true. He's a terrible person trying to kill Americans. But you're talking about a woman who had the potential to be tortured every day, and a woman who is a symbol for Black America, for LGBTQ plus America, for sports America, for America in general. And I feel like this is very important. It's important for the Biden administration that has relied so heavily on Black women to take this strong of a position in freeing one. The negotiations were mostly secret, and despite every effort by the president, they were not able to get Whelan out, but hopefully they will be able to make another deal before it's all over, long before that sentence is played out, Whelan already having done 4 years. I think, and this is the second prisoner swap that he hasn't been involved with, because another Trevor Reed, a Marine, was released in a different swap for a Russian pilot in May. So it looks like Russia is trying to keep them each separate so they can get as much as possible for each prisoner. But given the fact that this war doesn't seem to be going away, and the relationship between the United States and Russia seems to be going downhill, you got to get her out while you can. And I'm just so happy today that the Biden administration has done just that, with the help of whoever else they needed in the room to make it happen. It's a great time to call me, 800-920-1580. I do want to go a little deeper into these hate crimes, because we're at a time when African Americans are under attack, literally under attack, being shot down in grocery stores, attacked on the streets, but continue to be portrayed as the perpetrators, as the predators. What's wrong with this picture? What do we do about it? How do we protect our communities? How do we re-educate the media and the public so that they can stand with us instead of constantly accusing and belittling us at a time when we are already under attack? This is KBLA Talk 1580. We're unapologetically progressive.
More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, Maisha Cairo here, KBLA, live at Chase Bank on Crenshaw and Vernon for the In This Together tour with female business owners, a day of empowerment, community panels, and best of all, tips on building business from marketing to capital. I was able to speak with Kate Luzio, former banking executive and now owner of Luminary, who partnered with Chase for this tour. She makes it her business to build community for business owners.
Yeah, so I was a banker for 20 years before I decided to become an entrepreneur. 7 of those years were actually at JP Morgan Chase. One of the biggest things that I had going into my entrepreneurial journey was a big background in banking.
So what advice are you giving business owners looking for financial backing today?
So Chase brings in so much knowledge and the opportunity to understand what financial tools are out there for business owners to build, grow, and scale their business. A lot of business owners will say, well, I need to get a loan immediately. Well, you wouldn't just lend money to your friend if you didn't know why they needed it. I tell every business owner, you need a business plan, you need financial projections, you need a banker. Because you have to start building a relationship with a banker so that they get comfortable with how you're going to build that business and so that they can eventually support you in different ways.
Makes sense. So visit the Chase Community Center on Crenshaw and Vernon. Meet a banker today. Tell them about your business. I'm Maisha Cairo in the community for KBLA with JP Morgan Chase.
Congratulations to Trinity Unlimited Childcare for being KBLA Talk 1580's Office of the Week. Into your business today in the KBLA app or KBLA1580.com for the Office of the Week. Congratulations to Trinity Unlimited Childcare.
It's pro time because at Lowe's, it's Provember. Save big with inventory you can count on, like Flex products or DeWalt power tools starting at just $99. Plus, Lowe's MVPs members earn up to 3 times bonus points per dollar on select items. Save all Provember long. Bonus points calculated before taxes and fees after applicable discounts, if any. MVPs Pro Rewards Program. Terms and restrictions apply. See Lowe's.com/L/Pro Loyalty Terms. Subject to change. Prices valid from 10/17/22 to 2/3/23 or until supplies last.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
Roll Charmin Ultra Strong when you drop in the beat. It cleans with way less effort on your seat. Yeah, roll it. Drop it, yeah, roll it, yeah, drop it. Okay. Charmin flows extra strong from the road. Your butt hella clean while you're sitting on the bowl, yeah. It's all you need for that bathroom groove. Get you in and out without nothing to prove.
Charmin Ultra Strong cleans better so you can use less. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
Four racial arsonists set LA City Hall on fire. And everybody is running out of the building straight to KBLA Talk 1580.
I am pleased to welcome LA City Councilman Mike Bonin to this program. Councilman, how are you, sir?
Hello. Thank you, Tavis.
Councilmember Kern Price, good to have you on, sir. How are you today?
I'm well, Tavis. Thank you. Good to be with you and your listeners.
I'm pleased to have LA City Councilwoman Monica Rodriguez on this program. How are you today, ma'am?
Good morning, Tavis.
Councilman O'Farrell, good to have you on, sir. How are you today?
Thank you so much, Tavis. So glad to join you this morning.
Councilman Koretz, welcome to this program, sir. How are you?
I'm honored to be on your show. Still in shock from the events of the last few days.
Marquise Harris Dawson, good morning.
Good morning, Dominique, and good morning to the KBLA family.
Councilmember Heather Hutt, good morning.
Good morning, Dominique.
I am pleased to welcome the new president of the LA City Council, Paul Kikoy. Mr. President, how are you, sir?
Good morning, Tavis. I'm well. Thank you very much.
Holding all politicians accountable to you. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
First things first. So I'm not surprised, but quite disturbed to hear that there has been a 23% increase in hate crimes between 2020 and 2021, according to the newest report put out by the LA County Commission on Human Relations. This is one local story that does have national significance because this trend holds up across the country with hate crimes increasing, even though California seems to be the worst state, which is weird because we have this reputation for being so liberal. But in fact, there is just a lot of racism and anti-Blackness here. African Americans, Latinos, Jews, and LGBTQ plus people are the most targeted groups. Of those groups, African Americans are at the top. Now, this is not the pain Olympics, the oppression Olympics. I'm not trying to say my pain is worse than your pain. What I am trying to say is if you look at YouTube, if you look at TV reporting, if you look at mainstream media, what you find is that the portrayal when you talk about anti-Asian hate or LGBTQ plus hate, it seems like there is always the implication or many times the outright accusation, as we saw here locally with our former sheriff, Alex Villanueva, that black people are the perpetrators. But the data doesn't bear that out. Just because you saw a video on YouTube of a person who probably was suffering from a mental health crisis, attacking a person of another ethnic group who happens to be black, and because they want to play it over and over again because that's sensational and it's violent, then, or just because another person having a mental health crisis who happens to be a famous rap artist says things that don't make any sense and that support hate, it doesn't mean that you can then extrapolate and say black people are the perpetrators. In fact, it seems like black people being attacked, murdered in the Tops grocery store or in Mother Emanuel Church, or attacked going about our daily business, is now the norm and the default in America. And I say now, I mean, this goes back to our enslavement, and everything thereafter throughout Jim Crow and all of these things, the tradition of lynching, if you will. But it's almost like because it's the default, we assume that we can paint black people as the criminals, the perpetrators, rather than giving the resources, the empathy, the consideration that we would give to other groups that were under attack, right? So it's not about wham, I want you to feel sorry for me. It's about I want you to stop criminalizing my community. Stop criminalizing black people over the very things. It's victim blaming, really. It's really what it is in the most basic essence of race politics in America. And so that's why I say this is not the oppression Olympics. I'm not saying that hate against LGBTQ people of any race is more acceptable. I'm not saying any hate is acceptable. I'm never going to say that. I stand in solidarity with every person who's been a victim of white supremacy, racism, white supremacy. They are synonyms. They're synonyms. Let that sink in, right? What I'm saying is that I need you to stop making it normal for black people to be attacked. Normalizing the black pain, black death, whether it's at the hand of police or white supremacists, who, by the way, are the main perpetrators. White racists are the main perpetrators of these attacks on Asian Americans, on LGBTQ plus Americans, on black Americans. So why are we the ones being criminalized? Think about it. You know, this is one of those check yourself before you wreck yourself moments. We need you to change the way you are processing this information to stop pathologizing black people all the time, even for their own victimization. Okay? I have to say it. I am a big supporter of the Biden administration passing the anti-hate crimes. Some people were mad because it was called the Asian American anti-hate crime. I wasn't mad about that. That was money. Those were resources that helped every single person that was a victim of a hate crime. It gives more resources to people like the LA County Human Relations Commission or their equivalent in other markets so that they can fight hate crimes against anyone. If you call, 311 or you go to LA versus hate or whatever your local version of that is to report a hate crime against you, no one's going to say, well, or if you're not Asian, we don't want to help you. That's not going to happen. So it doesn't matter what the bill is named. It was named that because we were seeing a surge of people copying the 45th president, who was openly and virulently racist, against Asians during the COVID crisis, which continues to resonate because if you look at the data from this latest report, a lot of the Asian Americans who are getting attacked are being blamed for COVID, which is the most ignorant. Yeah, and not with anti-Semitism, not at all. Never, 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 not at all. You don't get to attack people. You don't get to belittle people. You don't get to inflict your white supremacist values, ideology, or violence on any community, period, full stop. What I'm concerned about is the double standard when it comes to consequences for African Americans and the demonization of African Americans. Van Jones got in trouble for apologizing to some group that he was speaking in front of, apologizing on behalf of all African Americans for our silence on anti-Semitism. I'm sorry, but that's BS. There hasn't been silence. Black people have been standing in solidarity. If you're mad at Ye, say you're mad at Ye. Don't apologize on behalf of all black people. You're not the king of Black America anyway. And neither am I. Not the king or the queen. Views and opinions expressed on this microphone of those of myself and yourself, if you choose to call 800-920-1580. We go into Morris calling us from Inglewood. Good morning, Morris.
Hey, how you doing, young lady? I just wanted to add to your conversation that there's an elephant in the room, obviously. It's called racism, and it's been racism was coded into American law 120 years before we became a country. Okay, so this is not something that's new. 60% of all of our melodeficient brothers and sisters voted for the Republican Party, and we know what their messaging is subliminally. It's racism. So this is an interesting conversation. I hope other people call and talk to you about it, Dominique. Thank you.
Yeah, I hope they do too, because if we don't talk about it, I think we've got to get to the point where we are creating the marching orders, or, you know, if it was a newsroom, the assignment desk. This is what you need to focus on. This is the story you need to tell. This is really about changing the narrative. Because when you talk about racism, discrimination, white supremacy, a lot of the time that comes down to the tip of the spear is anti-Blackness always. And if we, progressive people, if we, particularly Black progressives, do not take the reins in changing this narrative, take the lead in saying, no. What you're not about to do is blame us for our own demise. What you're not about to do is blame us for the system of white supremacy that you put in place. What you're not about to do is continue to demonize Black people. You're going, we are not going to, we're just not going to stand by and allow. We're going to Fred from the Crenshaw district. Hi, Fred. Hotep.
Good morning, Dominique. Thanks for breaking it down. That is so true, what you said. I agree with you 100%. Some time ago, I was in the seminary common priest in Catholic Church. I went through this whole thing in my junior year. I was only Black. You know, so you can imagine me feeling very good morning, Ann. Would you like to sit here, Ann? Let me open the door for you, Ann. And I'm glad that the Catholic Church, under the direction of Archbishop Gomez, has established a racism program of which I'm a member of. And thank God, in 5 years, we finally are going to have our first African-American Black ordained for the Archdiocese of Los Angeles. So I'm glad that he's taken the lead in that. I'm so happy that Reverend Warnock beat the pants off of Walker. That would have been horrible for Walker to be there. I think the man's a dodo. And now he and his son got into it. He disrespected women, and it's just crazy. And Sunday, that is going to be a great day to see our first African woman sworn in at City Hall. Understand that check-in time is 11:30, and Vice President Kamala Harris will give her the oath of office at 1 o'clock. And so we do have great things going on. And the fact that Brittney's going to be coming home, that's great. So hopefully the Biden administration can try to get her brother home. So take care and keep doing what you're doing. And I'll take my comments off the air.
Yes, indeed. I appreciate you, Fred. Great points. Lots of great points. It's a good week. We got Brittney Griner's on her way home, and we have Senator Raphael Warnock. All that and more after news, traffic, and sports on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where truth prevails. The tricky station is down the dial.
Good morning. The Black Information Network is following breaking news out of the White House and Russia. Reports indicate WNBA star Brittney Griner is out of Russian custody.
These past few months have been hell for Brittney and for Charlie and her entire family and all her teammates back home.
Earlier this year, a Russian court upheld Griner's drug conviction and 9-year prison sentence. She was in custody since February when screeners at a Moscow airport found vape cartridges containing a small amount of hashish in her luggage.
As you all are aware, there's so many other families who are not whole.
Stay with the Black Information Network. We'll keep you updated on this breaking news story as details become available. And that's the latest. I'm Ree Harris on your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network at BINnews.com.
Continuing problems in Culver City with that SIG alert, 405 southbound. It's going to be just past National Boulevard. A wreck there has the carpool and 2 left lanes blocked. You're slow from Santa Monica Boulevard. And if you're trying to get through Elysian Park, crash there has cleared from the 5 northbound at the 110, but it's still pretty slow from the 10.
Hi, I'm Kyle, and my company is Blindster.com. I started Blindster in 2010 to provide custom blinds, shades, and shutters at affordable prices. Our blinds are easy to install and shipping is free. Don't hire an expensive professional. Do it yourself and save big at Blindster.com.
Is this the Tiger? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Lakers didn't have their 2 best players last night in Toronto and lost. The Clippers had their 2 best players on the floor in Orlando but lost in overtime. A rough night for both of LA's NBA teams. Without LeBron James and Anthony Davis, the Lakers lose by 13 to the Raptors. Kawhi Leonard and Paul George suited up for the Clippers, but the Magic still won by 5 to snap a 9-game losing streak. The 2 All-Stars had more turnovers than baskets. The Clippers play at Miami tonight. The Rams and Las Vegas Raiders meet up tonight at SoFi. Rams coach John McVay said he's unsure if quarterback Baker Mayfield will play tonight. Mayfield is taking a crash course in the Rams offense after joining the team on Tuesday. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. This sports report was brought to you by MVP Accident Attorneys. When it comes to your settlement, we're slam dunk. Call 833-MVP-WINS or check their website at themvp.com for a free case review.
When you're the victim of a car accident, hiring the right law firm can be the difference between a rewarding settlement and striking out. Call the pros at MVP Accident Attorneys at 833-MVP-WINS for your free consultation.
Call on me, your MVP.
Over 100 million people around the world have felt the thrill of Broadway's most spectacular musical, Disney's The Lion King. And now you can too. Experience this breathtaking theatrical event and see why the New York Times declares there is simply nothing else like it.
Give the gift that roars at the Pantages Theater, February 2nd through March 26th. Visit BroadwayInHollywood.com.
Central Neighborhood Health Foundation is a full-service network of federally qualified health care centers that serves local communities throughout Los Angeles, Riverside, and San Bernardino counties. CNHF clinics provide low-cost to no-cost, compassionate, comprehensive, quality health care, which includes primary care services for chronic disease and diabetes management, pediatric and women's services, preventive care, vision and dental screenings, COVID-19 testing and vaccines, flu vaccines, behavioral health, HIV, and substance use services. Virtual telehealth visits are available from the comfort of your home with highly qualified physicians and medical professionals. CNHF also provides peer support specialist training and help with housing navigation. Central Neighborhood Health Foundation. Your wellness is our priority. Comprehensive care built on trust and respect. For more information, visit cnhfclinics.org or call 213-536-5815 today to locate a clinic near you.
California has millions of homes that could be damaged in a strong earthquake, and earthquakes are inevitable in the Golden State. An older home is especially vulnerable to earthquake damage, so you may need to take steps to strengthen it and help reduce the chance of damage. Visit strengthenmyhouse.com to learn about better protecting your home from earthquake damage. The work may cost less than you think and can often be completed in a few days. You've worked hard to get a home. Now's the time to protect it. Get prepared today so you can worry less tomorrow. Visit strengthenmyhouse.com.
Did you know that feeling sluggish or weighed down could be signs that your digestive system isn't working at its best? But taking Metamucil every day can help. Metamucil supports your daily digestive health using a special plant-based fiber called psyllium. Psyllium works by forming a gel in your digestive system to trap and remove the waste that weighs you down. Metamucil's gelling action also helps to promote heart health and slows down sugar absorption to promote healthy blood sugar levels. Start feeling lighter and more energetic by taking Metamucil every day.
What's for dinner? Burgers?
After last week, no thanks.
Avoiding foods due to fear of diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools? It may not be just stomach issues. It could be EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency. EPI can cause uncomfortable symptoms because it's a condition where the pancreas doesn't release enough digestive enzymes to break down food. But EPI can be managed. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor about your symptoms. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
All I need is one mic.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. Over the course of this year, I have delivered a number of editorials about the troublesome case of LA City Councilman Mark Ridley Thomas. In each editorial, I laser focused on three bedrock principles of our democracy: due process, the presumption of innocence, and fundamental fairness. The recent settlement of Ridley Thomas's compensation claim is a major victory for due process, the presumption of innocence, and fundamental fairness to which we are all entitled. This settlement represents a tacit acknowledgement by the city of Los Angeles that City Controller Ron Galperin, aided and abetted by City Attorney Mike Feuer and former City Council President Nuri Martinez, who was forced to resign in disgrace, excessively abused their power. Their actions were not just legally wrong, they were harmful to Ridley Thomas's legal defense. You cannot accuse an individual, take away the seat to which they were duly elected, their health care in the midst of a pandemic, I might add, their pension and their salary, then tell them that while they are suspended, they cannot earn outside income, and somehow expect that they will have the resources to fight and defend their good name. It was preposterous then, and in retrospect, it's even more outrageous now. Much of the blame for this travesty of justice rests squarely on the shoulders of Nuri Martinez, who allowed her personal political ambitions, racial animosity, and thirst for power to override good governance and good judgment. It was abundantly clear on that now infamous leaked audio tape that Martinez wanted to punish and tarnish Ridley Thomas. And she did, but she ruined herself in the process. Big Mama always said, God don't like ugly, and he ain't fond of cute. Once Nuri Martinez's toxic leadership was no more, the council quickly and correctly moved to resolve an injustice born in part by their own rush to judgment and abdication of responsibility in performing due diligence. Their settlement action this week starts the process of restoring honor and trust. In March, Ridley Thomas will finally have his day in court and a chance to restore his good name. For KBLA Talk 1580, I'm Tavis Smiley. We welcome your comments.
Broadcasting live from Leimert Park, USA. Welcome back to your home for unapologetically progressive radio, KBLA Talk 1580.
I mean, there's just no matter what's going on in your life, it's got to be down in the history books as a good week. It's got to go down as a good week. Herschel Walker is not a senator. Ding, 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 ding. And Brittney Griner's on her way home. Like W and W. That's a good week. I'm sorry for my basketball fans. It was a rough night last night. That said, W and W in the big picture. Speaking of W, going to Watts. We got Howard. Morning, Howard.
Oh, good morning. First, I would say all due praise to the black woman. There's nothing like a soul sister. What I really called about, Dominique, was when I called and talked to Screeder Miles, I mentioned what I want to talk about was about the attempted coup in Germany last week. He said, what? He didn't hear about it. I said, wow, you guys got to get on it now. That's a very important thing.
First of all, that is not Miles, it's Andy. And second of all, that's not his job. His job is to keep the microphone sounding good, keep us on the air, make sure the music play when the music's not supposed to play, make sure your phone call gets up, all that. That's Andy's job. He got a few other jobs too, but I'm not sure what they are.
What I'm trying to say is the fact that's where I kind of got scared. I always been a student of history, and I was a kid. We watched 20th century and all that. I saw a lot of Nazi footage when I was a kid, and it's scary. And then we have a deja vu.
It is scary. So there was 25 people were arrested because they were trying to supposedly do a coup in Germany, right? And part of what's scary, I'm sure you agree, Howard, is the fact that it kind of had echoes of January 6th.
That and also back in the day, the Reichstag building, stuff like that. Go back in history. We're going to repeat it. It's coming all over again, people.
These folks were planning to storm the German parliament, and they were extremist groups, kind of like the German version of the Proud Boys and QAnon followers. So it's basically a playbook out of the MAGA world.
Yeah. Okay, another quick thing. Listen to Hakeem Jeffries, he made sense. He says Americans want common sense. I said, that's about what it is. Another thing I'm going to talk about real quickly is the fact I had all these car chases interrupting that regular programming. What's the deal with that? They can't, watching on TV can't help out what's going on out there in the street. And what they should do is broadcast it on the radio and have the ambulance more so people that's driving would know what's going on. People been zooming by me a couple of occasions and kind of scared me to death. But if I had some kind of warning as to what's going on out there, and what really upset me was one time I was watching The View and Serena Williams was on. A car chase interrupted her when she barely got on the program. I didn't see none of her interview.
Yeah,
I want to see Serena.
You know what? They must get good ratings because it's kind of like a TV staple. I don't watch it unless you're chasing OJ. I'm not watching it. And I think that the police shouldn't be chasing cars anyway because too many times innocent bystanders are being killed or harmed and property's being wrecked. And you ask, what are they chasing the person for? Car theft or something like stupid like that. And it's just like, if they're not a killer on the rampage, I don't think they should be chasing them. You've got a helicopter, follow them until they run out of gas. Like, why do you have to have a chase in the middle of, a busy city or town?
Yeah, the police, they get off on that. They generally get Russian and give them a cue to really act the fool out there.
Okay, well, go play Call of Duty. Don't get your rush out on my, on innocent citizens. There's got to be another way to get that rush. And I just feel like that's not even part of our job to help them get a rush. They need. I feel like those high-speed car chases should really be banned at this point, unless the person is a mass murderer on the loose or a murderer on the loose. Let me put it that way.
Yeah, it's crazy. But anyway, I get the couch time a little bit later. And also, I'm glad that Brittney Griner, I screamed when I heard her is out this morning. You announced in the news. And we got to get the other guy out, too. He's been there longer than she has. And I feel for him. So,
yeah, Paul Whelan,
and also, and also, quickly, what can I got to say this to the Republicans. How you like us now? We won the Senate. We got Brittney Griner out, and all these things are coming to play now. And people like King Jeffrey said, Americans want common sense.
Yeah.
The Republicans, already have any common sense. So that's all it is, common sense and well-read. That's all I'm working with.
Yeah. That's a really good baseline. Common sense. I think that's right. And we've gotten over into crazy coups, QAnon, and just making up stuff, just prevaricating. And I think Minority Leader Jeffries is right. Let's get back to common sense and the things that make people people's lives a little bit better. Howard, I appreciate the call. Continuing to take your phone calls, actually all day today. We're talking gender roles in the final hour, but I really would love to welcome you into that conversation as well. It's KBLA Talk 1580, where we're amplifying Black and progressive voices around the clock.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
Study reveals barriers to mental health for Black and Latina women in California. Maisha Cairo here with your K-Black Minute News. A poll conducted by Eviteris, sponsored by Black Women Organized for Political Action and Hispanas Organized for Political Equity, found that 77% of some 800 women participants experienced some form of discrimination due to personal characteristic. More than 3 in 5 respondents have had mental health concerns for which they did not seek care. These same women reported often having had negative experiences with providers. 70% of Black women and 54% of Latinas reported racial or ethnic discrimination. Another 59% of Black women and 55% of Latinas report assumptions were made about their income and education levels. 40% of Latinas reported discrimination based on assumptions about their ability to communicate in English, while 28% reported assumptions about their documentation or immigration status. I'm Maisha Cairo, and that's your K-Black Minute News.
Hi, this is Stevie Wonder, and nothing can stop this love. It's back. Join me at my 24th House Full of Toys benefit concert, Saturday, December 17th at the Microsoft Theater.
Please bring an unwrapped toy.
Or a gift of joy, and make this a day of giving to the young and old.
Stevie Wonder.
My 24th House Full of Toys benefit concert.
Tickets on sale now at AXS.com.
Produced by Wonder Productions and promoted by AEG.
At Cedars-Sinai, we're honored to be named the #1 hospital in California and the #2 hospital in the nation in U.S. News & World Report's Best Hospitals Honor Roll. We're also proud to be named #1 in 6 specialties in Los Angeles. Thank you to our physicians, nurses, academic leaders, and thousands of other team members who bring their best to Cedars-Sinai every day. Learn more about our top-ranked care at cedars-sinai.org.
Four racial arsonists set LA City Hall on fire. And everybody is running out of the building straight to KBLA Talk 1580.
I am pleased to welcome LA City Councilman Mike Bonin to this program. Councilman, how are you, sir?
Hello. Thank you, Tavis.
Councilmember Curran Price, good to have you on, sir. How are you today?
I'm well, Tavis. Thank you. Good to be with you and your listeners.
I'm pleased to have LA City Councilwoman Monica Rodriguez on this program. How are you today, ma'am?
Good morning, Tavis.
Councilman O'Farrell, good to have you on, sir. How are you today?
Thank you so much, Tavis. So glad to join you this morning.
Councilman Koretz, welcome to this program, sir. How are you?
I'm honored to be on your show. I'm still in shock from the events of the last few days.
Marquise Harris Dawson, good morning.
Good morning, Dominique, and good morning to the KBLA family.
Councilmember Heather Hutt, good morning.
Good morning, Dominique.
I am pleased to welcome the new president of the LA City Council, Paul Kokoy. Mr. President, how are you, sir?
Good morning, Tavis. I'm well. Thank you very much.
Holding all politicians accountable to you. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. Your ancestors' favorite radio station, and your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DiPrima right now.
Right now, let's go straight to Kwamel calling us from Gardena, California, USA. What's up, Kwamel?
Yes, indeed. I am live from what the hood used to call misdemeanor Gardena. But it's a rough one to hear. I don't know. It just seems kind of overshadowed to hear that Wheeling didn't get out. It makes you wonder what the heck move the U.S. would have to even make that happen, and how tough was Russia. Yeah, because it's funny because on Twitter, a trend it started trending the name Danny Ainge, and everybody to a man was saying that Russia basically Danny Ainge to U.S. I was like, oh, that is so foul. That is so foul, but. You have to get your NBA trade knowledge to know that one. But yeah, it's just rough to see if that's the case. But I'm definitely happy that Griner is free. just because of
Yeah, I mean, and most of the time we're used to these stories being right. It's the black person that's left behind. I mean, that's how the story usually goes. But that said, I think we all have empathy for this family. He's been there 4 years. They've been dealing with this, and I think they will get him out. I don't see how they leave him there, but they're going to have to do a separate deal.
Yeah, nah, most staff is I just don't know what the heck move, what Russians are left that the Russians will actually care about,
right?
To have the U.S. want to move, but yeah, so I don't know, but yeah, I wanted to throw this at you. Oh, go ahead.
No, I'm just smiling because I was censoring myself. Go ahead.
So I wanted to throw this one at you, and get your take on it. Whether it's conservatives or progressives, or in between. I know this white or black, and anybody else in the spectrum, all seem to have like this thing about white liberals. And I don't know. It seems like with conservatives, it's to make people think that all people to the left of them are the same. But of course, black, whether conservative, moderate, progressive, or otherwise, we kind of have like similar issues with white liberals. And I know part of it is the whole blind spot thing. A lot of white liberals kind of mess with, or tend to have going on with them. But I just tend to wonder, what your thoughts are on the whole, kind of dunking on white liberals thing, and what we're supposed to do with that besides just, we just do it just because, hey, it's a trendy thing to do, or is it something that we need them to be seeing and need them to learn? And I'll take the time to here.
That's an interesting question. I'm going to answer Kwamel's question because I think the issue of white liberals, allies, white progressives, in the BIPOC organizing space, especially for progressives, is one that bears discussion for a number of reasons. We'll look at it when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
The station you turn to when you've had it up to gear with cultural incompetence. KBLA Talk 1580.
I know you want to leave me, but I refuse to let you go.
Ain't Too Proud is a celebration that brings the audience to its feet.
Ain't too proud to beg, as you know it.
The Grammy-winning songs, the Tony-winning movies. Ain't Too Proud, the life and times of the Temptations. Returning to the Amundsen December 13th. Tickets at AmundsenTheater.org.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
I'm asking about Prevnar 20 because there's a chance pneumococcal pneumonia could put me in the hospital.
Age 65 or older, you may be at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a Pfizer vaccine that can help protect against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. The most commonly reported side effect was pain at the injection site. For additional common side effects and full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
I want to be able to keep my plans.
So I'm asking my doctor about getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20.
KBLA Talk 1580 invites you to join us in celebrating the season of giving by being part of the solution. As we enjoy great food, family, warmth, and well wishes in whatever our festive tradition may be, we share the beauty of the season by reaching out to the less fortunate. Please help us to help others with the KBLA Cover the Houseless Cozy Community Coat and Blanket Drive. All you have to do is drop off new or clean, gently used winter coats and blankets in the KBLA lobby during business hours. Now through December 20th, all of the coats and blankets will be donated to unsheltered individuals and families experiencing houselessness. Simply bring your donation to 4434 Crenshaw Boulevard in Los Angeles, near Vernon Avenue, from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. weekdays. That's 4434 Crenshaw in historic Leimert Park. During the holidays and every day, let's remember, we keep us safe. We keep us warm. We are the safety net. And together, we can cover the unsheltered. Get caught up in the spirit of the season, the spirit of love. Make a difference with your friends at KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate meets a scholarly match.
It is the 8th day of December, and I was listing all the things that make this a great week. I should have added Mark Ridley Thomas getting his salary and benefits back with something on top. He's our city council member here in my district, the 10th district where I live, here in Los Angeles, who was suspended by the city council member, the city council minus the two black members, including the president of the council, who has since stepped down and then wrongfully stripped of his pay and benefits by the city controller, Ron Galperin, who was sued, and now they settled. And council member Ridley Thomas gets paid. Some people talking smack about that, but they really shouldn't be. When you work for the LA City Council, even if you're suspended, you're not allowed to have other jobs. That's part of their ethics portfolio, which means if you take away the guy's benefits and salary, he is literally legally unable to make a living. And that is wrong. You want to worry about who shouldn't be getting paid. That would be Kevin De Leon, the council member who has been disgraced, who is a racist. We've heard it on tape, and who is refusing to step down and continues to collect his $200,000 plus salary while doing basically nothing other than dodging protesters and holding the city hostage to his own personal ambition and lack of ethics. Okay, so about white liberals, that's what Kwamel brought up. And I think it's important to look at the different kinds of clowning that happen. You have people that clown white centrists, liberals. I'm putting air quotes around liberals because I think many times those are people who consider themselves even progressive, but they're actually very much in the center. They're liberal, and their politics go back to olden days, And I shouldn't be talking about Biden because he's having a good week, but he's a good example of that. Someone who means well, but their politics their racial politics are still back in 1982, to be charitable, possibly the 70s. In terms of allies in the progressive space, you also have to look at the dynamics of race, even in a situation where you have people whose consciousness seems to be aligned. Because I think one of the things we find, and yeah, I understand what you're saying, Kwame. You don't want to just be gratuitously clowning people who are doing the work, who are showing up and doing the work, who are educating themselves, whose consciousness is constantly elevating. But on the other hand, there's a lot of times, and I've been in these situations many times myself, in progressive spaces where the white allies, or whatever you want to call them, white progressives, even liberals, centrists, whatever they are, feel like, and I feel like it's very subconscious, and many times they don't even realize what they're doing. There's this feeling that we should be in charge. Even though we're coming into your black organization or your Latino or Arab American indigenous organization, that we should be in charge. We, the white liberal, we, the white progressive, we, the ally. And I think White People for Black Lives has been really, really conscious about that and really committed to not trying to boss other people around just because you're the dominant group in the United States of America. And so it's part of the reason why the work, to me, of someone like Ibram X. Kendi is so important. And it's the thing I call fake wokeness. The conservatives are on a war against wokeness because by people becoming more conscious, more awakened to the realities of American history, racism, white supremacy, and the issues of class in this country, they come more to allyship. They come more to consciousness. They come more to the Democratic Party, and conservatives want to stop this, but it's really important that anti-racism Training is part of that. And that's why even though people will clown Ibram X. Kendi, I'm going to say Dr. Kendi's work is super important because he teaches people how to be active anti-racist without falling into the traps of the dominant group, which is that even though I'm a progressive and you're a progressive, I'm automatically going to be in charge because I'm the person that's not a person of color. I'm the white person. That's check yourself. Another check yourself before you wreck yourself opportunity. To check in with yourself and say, I, the progressive white person, I, the progressive, I, the liberal, centrist, or well-meaning white person, am I falling into the white savior syndrome? Am I falling into the Hollywood movie syndrome where black people never have agency over their own selves? Am I falling into the billionaire charity syndrome where we give money to white or U.S.-run organizations instead of giving the money to those people of color so they can solve their own problems? I think that's the heart of it, Kwame. We've got news, traffic, and sports, and we're talking gender roles on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
Good morning. The Black Information Network is following breaking news out of Russia. WNBA star Brittney Griner has been released from a Russian detention center following a prison swap, according to CNN. Stay with the Black Information Network. We'll keep you up to date on this breaking story as details become available. Again, CNN is reporting WNBA star Brittney Griner has been released